Hey everybody, how you doing today on this fine Saturday morning? Today we're going to swap the transmission out of my 442, which is actually a lie. I started yesterday, but whatever. I pulled the old transmission out yesterday. It's a 204R from an 88 Monty SS. I've had it in and out of the car many times through the years, and it's got a bunch of CK parts in it. It's got the billet forward drum, the billet input shaft, billet this, billet that. It's got a Hughes pan. It's got the big CK servo. And I think it's got a Transgo shift kit in it right now with their dual fed third gear. And what I don't like about that is that I get what I call a double bump between 3 and 4. It's almost like it has a fifth gear. I just feel a thump in my drivetrain. And I don't know what it is. I have read that dual feeding in the manner that Transgo does it can give you a double bump here and there. If that's the case, that's what it is. And also the 2-speed converter is not working. I have this transmission that I bought off a friend of mine. It's an Art Carr 204R. He sells 3 levels, 1, 2, and 3. This is level 2, which is good for, I don't know, it's 500 or 600 horsepower. More than enough for what I'm doing. And I have the invoice. I know pretty much what's in it, and he actually paid to have the case painted silver and have Art Carr autograph it, which is crazy, but whatever you're into. I just noticed yesterday that this is not a multi-case transmission. You can see the pattern is the BOP, Buick, Olds, Pontiac, and Cadillac too, while the Monty transmission is the very common multi-case. See, it has the ears on top. This one does not. And also has these outriggers here that this one does not. That means it'll fit Buick, Olds, Pontiac, Cadillac, and Chevy. It'll fit everything. It's a multi-case. That's why they call it a multi-case. This one is not. I always heard they made BOP only 204Rs. I've seen pictures of them, but I've never seen one in real life. So I am going to swap a few things over from this one to this one, and then I will stick it back in the car and hopefully be taking it for a ride this morning before I go home. Stay tuned. So here's a tech tip for you. When you're putting a new converter in your car, always take the converter and put it to the back of your crank to make sure it goes in the pilot hole, and also make sure the bolt holes line up for the torque converter itself. I have been burned a couple of times by not checking that. And after you become a mechanic for a long time, you start checking things like that so you don't get burned. I like to think of it as I fucked up when I was younger, but now that I'm older, I'm a little smarter. So I don't fuck up as much. So that's what you do. You stick it in the pilot, make sure it fits fine, and make sure the bolt holes line up. I have one bolt actually in this thing. I don't have a tripod, so I can't walk around the front, but if I get closer, you should be able to see that that bolt is in. And that one does line up for the front. I can't see the other one, so let's assume it fits. I mean, assume is another word that rhymes with oops, but you get the idea. Test fit shit before you get to a point where you go, oh, I wish I test fit that. So, little tech tip for you. Sometimes they put too much paint on the end of the converter snout. Sometimes the converter snout is a couple of file too big, get hit with a file. Sometimes they just don't fit, so you have to make sure. Okay, end of tech tip. The converter is back out of the car on the bench, so you can see the snout I'm talking about. This thing, it's the pilot. I call it the snout, call it whatever you want, but I've had them that are too big. They won't actually fit in the back of the crank, so you have to file this down, grease the back of the crank. You know, it's easy to find it now. Then when the transmission's up there and you go to put it in, you go, what the hell? Then you're screwed. You got to pull the tranny back out, which is no picnic. So in the old days, I used to do this shit on my back. Now I'm blessed with a lift, but you can imagine it's a real pain in the balls. So one other thing I check is the torque converter mounting holes, the lugs. I just ran a bolt in them. If you saw my Sunbird video and I mentioned that one of the torque converter bolt holes was crooked, I had to fix it. I check them just for that kind of stuff, and I'm glad I did, because one of these holes was full of shit. You can see this bolt, they come with sealant on them. You took the sealant off and beat up the thread a little bit, so I had to run a thread chaser through that one, but I ran through all 3 of them. I got a lot of rust out of them, and that cleaned them up nicely. So always check this stupid stuff, because it's going to bite you in the ass later. It's never easier than it's right in front of you on your workbench, right? And again, that's a thread chaser. That's not a tap. It's kind of like a tap, but the edges are a little rounder, I think, and dulled, so they don't cut as much as they straighten. It's a kit I bought from Snap-on a million years ago. You can use a tap if you want, but taps by their very nature take metal out. All you want to do is true it up and straighten it out. See that they have like a slit on them, and they're just like a bolt, and they just clean out dirt or straighten out the threads. So if you don't have any rethreading tools like that, I would recommend getting a kit like this. It's up to you. Like I said, this thing is, God, I probably bought it 35 years ago. I probably paid 90 bucks for it then, but I'm sure there's all kinds of knockoffs nowadays you can buy that look exactly the same. I think this is made by, I don't remember who it was Milton, or what the company was, but if you peel the sticker off, you probably see it under there. But anyway, these kits are all over the place if you want to get one, so that's that. All right, before I get back to filming, I thought I'd take some video of the underneath of my car. I have precious few videos or photos of it. Back in 2012 or 2013, me and a couple of friends of mine did a frame off of my car. So we literally had the frame off the chassis, sandblasted it. Well, actually, this isn't the original frame. The original frame was kind of weak and it was cracked in a couple spots. So I bought a hardtop frame. And if you know anything about GMA bodies, the hardtop is not boxed and the convertible frame is. So we had to box it in with plate. So it is now a boxed frame. And we also had to make a mount for the cross member because convertibles have a different mount. Convertibles and hardtops have different mounts. So we had to make a different mount setup. And at the time, I contemplated putting a 4L80E transmission in it. So it has bolt hole mounting for both. It'll do a 400, a 4L80E, and a 204R. And you can see there's a little spike right there. That's where I used to hang the downpipe when I had a turbo LS motor in it. That was for a rubber mount that would hang down for the downpipe. But so this is my pretty pristine chassis, and it's gusseted in here and there. We full welded all the welds GM skipped. There's a couple of gussets we put in for the front control arm. See, those are additional to the stock. There's a better shot right here on this side. I just saw in a couple of chassis books that it's good to reinforce this stuff. It has SC&C stage 2 suspension, which basically he cherry picks the best parts he can find on the aftermarket. So it's got tubular control arms. I can't remember whose they are. Somebody good. It's got 1 inch taller ball joints, top and bottom. It's got LS Camaro disc brakes, so they're 12 inch all around. It's got Coney shocks. It's got Hellwig 1 3/8 hollow sway bars. It's got these sexy Hotchkiss adjusters. And honestly, I didn't do that to be sexy. I did that because it wouldn't clear the control arm bumpers with the stock ones with the clamps with bolts. But, you know, it's pretty mundane other than that. Everything's just cleaned and painted and gusseted in here and there. We put some additional gussets back here, which again, a chassis book said you really should bolster this stuff up. I mean, you can do the best you can on a street car. It's a street car. You're going to drive it everywhere. We had to custom make these triangulated mounts right here because the stock GM ones wouldn't fit with the this gusset and this hypo sway bar. The Hellwig sway bar mounts differently than stock. It mounts outboard, whereas the stock one just goes to the control arm. This one has outriggers and it clamps to the axle housing. But again, it's 1 3/8 tubular. And Coney shocks again, 2.5 inch exhaust. It's all stainless steel mufflers. The exhaust fit like shit. It was a, who the hell is it? Flowmaster kit for a Chevelle. So we had to cut it, you know, make it fit around the tires better. You know, a lot of custom stuff to make it right. The only piece of rubber in my suspension is right here. It's the ears on the rear axle. The rest of it is all Heim joints like these things have. And my body mounts are, I think they're just suspension. They're polyurethane. You can see them, but they're black. So it look like stock, but they're urethane. Yeah, you probably can't see them, whatever. The rear axle is an Olds 12 bolt. It's a 68. And in 67 and 68, I believe, there was a 31 spline axle. They came with 433 and higher gear sets. That's what this is. It had a 433 gear originally. I have a 391 in it now. It was in it when I bought it. And it's got, you know, again, LS Camaro. I think they're actually off a 2-wheel drive Blazer, rear disc brakes, aluminum calipers. And again, I had a turbo LS motor in it when I did the frame off. So this is a EFI gas tank. It's out of a Grand National. Took a bit of doing to make it fit. It's got some rubber things up top here, so it sits on the floor nicely. If you can see them or not. Any fucking light in there. It's got some good pieces of rubber blocks in there. We had to cut the Grand National filler pipe, you know, and 45 it. And a lot of people don't realize inside of that pipe, there's a tube, it's a vent that's like a square or maybe it's oval shaped that follows the tube. And when we originally did it, my friend he cut it and just put it back together. And when I went to put gas in it, it would shut off all the time. That's how I figured out it's a vent. So I had to connect it inside and favor it to the top as stock. So now it fills up nicely, but it is a Grand National gas tank. I bought it used from a friend of mine who parts out Grand Nationals, or he did back in the day anyway. Another weld in the pipe you can see to make this thing fit better. They just didn't fit very well. So this tucks it in nice. This is a 69 Cutlass frame I picked up from a guy I know. And again, we sandblasted it, painted it with Eastwood inside and outside paint they sell. And the rest is just, all SC&C Stage 2 stuff. I don't even know if SCC's still in business. He stiffed a bunch of people and he kind of crashed and burned. But I mean, when I bought this stuff, I had to wait a while for it, but I got it. A lot of people said they never got this stuff, so he's got a bad name in the industry now, but oh well. So that's the underneath of my car. And you can see it has electric fuel pump still. I run a carburetor now, so it has like a 4.3 liter V6 Monte Carlo fuel pump. And I have a regulator to step it down to the Quadrajet. I got tired of the LS because I had trouble tuning it. And I said, you know what? I enjoyed the car best with an Olds motor in it. So let's just go back to that. So I did back in like 2017, and I have never looked back. It runs great. It drives great. I'm not building a race car. Those days are long behind me. I just want to drive it and enjoy it. So here's some underneath footage of it so you can see how clean it is. I should get under here with a rag one of these days and clean it up some more, but hey, who's under here looking at it besides me, right? All right, back to work. One last thing I want to show you. It has a Delphi 600 steering box. I had played with the original box, had it modified. I had bought a Jeep Grand Cherokee steering box. I put a Trans Am steering box in it. I tried a bunch of used crap, bought some rebuilt stuff. They're all junk. So I ended up buying a brand new Delphi 600 steering box, which at the time was all the rage. I think it's a 12.7 to 1 ratio. It's got about 2.5 turns lock to lock. It's still not super high effort. Like the Firebird has a stock Grand National steering box in it, and it's stiff to turn it. This one is not. So it almost feels stock, but it's way tighter. But you don't want it, too over boosted because then it gets funny feeling. Like I had a WS6 Trans Am steering box in this thing, and it's tight, but it's light, so it feels weird. So this is stiffer than stock, but not crazy stiff, but a super tight ratio. So one more thing I wanted to show you. All right, the swap is all done. I took it for a ride. I'm fine tuning the TV cable adjustment to try to get the shift points where I like them. I'm gonna go for a brief ride here with my son and take a ride home from a little jaunt we took earlier. I'm gonna hand the phone over to him now. Hey, thanks. I'll take your pictures of your thumb. All right, Joey, let's go. Let's get this one, I guess, so I can get out. What nice people to me out. Why, thank you. I'll edit all this dead space out. Don't worry about it. Just keep going. I'll edit it out later. Thought it was shifting way too early on the 1.2 and a little too late in the 2.3. I don't think I can change the 2.3. I think that's in the valve body, but I can make a little tweak here and there. Shift's good and firm, but so did my old one. Shifting 2.3 at 30 miles an hour. I was trying to adjust it down a little bit from there, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get much out of it. Every one of these high performance transmissions that I've had has shifted clean to 2.3. I don't know what this valve body started life as before Art Carr modified it, but it might have been a performance valve body. If it wasn't, I'm sure he mimicked the performance valve body. Got to be a way to modify that further to shift a little bit earlier, 2.3. It's a little annoying. transmission came with for my friend. It's supposed to be a low stall, 2,400 or so. According to the part number, it was 2,500 to 3,000. I don't like them that loose, so I bought the low stall. They only offer 2 for this transmission. This is a non-lockup, so this one is tight. It feels like the stock D5, which is probably all it really is, just non-lock. I shifted about 28 that time, so we're going the right way, but I don't think I'm going to get it much better than that. Pressure is amazing in this thing. It's like 90 drive and neutral and park. It's like 150 in reverse with no TV. Full TV, it's like 240. Then in drive 1 and drive 2, it's like 245. Great line pressure. Down, but I don't think it's going to get much lower than that. It's about the lowest I've seen them shift. The fourth gear used to be a 35, now it's about 32. It's got 391 gears, so you can get on fourth gear around town pretty easily. As usual, thanks for watching. I hope all your projects are going great.